Nashville itself is a certain type of animal, not like any part of the country has ever really seen. Who am I? My name is Mark Ali. I am a drummer, educator, as well as a videographer, photographer, logo designer, and overall artist that has made his life by creating. But what I've dedicated my life the most of is music. And it's taken me through 3 major cities. Here's the thing about Nashville. We are seeing one of the longest running cities with the most extensive growth I think any city's experienced from what I know of. Everyone's coming here from all walks of life. We're talking around the world, not just around the country. We're talking Italy, Israel, of course you got Florida, California, which I'm from. I'm from Northern California originally. I went to Musicians Institute in Los Angeles, California for 8 years, and a long life there, and then here now 10 years. Nashville can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. You just never know. Now there's a lot of new Nashville type of stuff that's going on, and what does that mean? When I got here, there was 1 pedal tavern for the most part, maybe 2. And they originated in Holland. You know, there were bachelorette parties, but it wasn't tons. 2014, I'm sure prior to that, 2013, 12, 11, you know, you started to see potential growth. In that time period, felt like Nashville, like the olden times of Nashville. You had your people that have been around for a long time that are kind of seeing country still thrive. The rock scene was present, but it wasn't really as apparent as it is now to this day. Amazing thing about Nashville is its community. No shortage of amazing people to connect with in Nashville. I am grateful for so many people in my life that I've met because I live here in Nashville. And I've been in the music industry for so long now, been grateful to have the biggest community of people I think anyone can ever have. How that happened? A lot of it was being there and showing up. That was the biggest thing, okay? People say that all the time. Being there and showing up, that's huge. It is about sharing your experiences, putting yourself out there, forgetting all fear, forgetting all reservation, just throwing yourself out there in any capacity. That is primary when it comes to going anywhere within a new town. And everyone finds their way eventually. If you have a I'm not gonna take no crap attitude and you are hungry and you're passionate and you're artistic, you just have a service or something you'd like to provide or already do and you're utilizing it for what Nashville has to offer, this place is fantastic. It's like any place. If I were to say or give an example of an analogy that would make Nashville be what it is, I would say it like this. Nashville is an island where a big cruise ship comes on in. Let's just say every Thursday till about Sunday, full of bachelorette parties, convention attendees, vacationers, divorce parties, birthday parties, celebratory events of every kind. And they come in and they trash it like a high school kegger and they're gone Monday, Tuesday at the latest. Nashville is Disneyland, and the attractions are the musicians on Lower Broadway. Now that analogy doesn't come with just me making up anything, it's fact. If you go on Lower Broadway, you essentially catering to the millions of tourists that come in. They pay you money and you deliver. It's like any service, really. That's what it is. People make their living on Broadway. Now, I've played on Broadway for many years. I have friends that make a constant living, some say even 6 figures that they make as far as money on Broadway, consecutively, day in, day out, doubles, triples, quadruples, even if you're lucky enough. It doesn't happen for everybody. You're very lucky if you get that. It's a very small percentage. But that begs the question, do you want that? Nashville is what you make of it. Nashville essentially is everything that you want it to be and everything you don't want it to be. You have a choice. In my 10 years of Nashville, a lot of it, majority of the time, going down to Broadway and connecting with people, but also doing events. I had friends that started amazing things, and in 14 to 15, the Luke Combs explosion, I call it, started, where friends of mine went from needing gigs and looking for opportunity to being a part of one of the biggest, the most surprising, huge success stories in country music. And to this day, Luke Combs is one of the biggest artists in country music history. And that happened 14 to 15. Friends of mine start from very modest living to mansions in big areas to residual income for the rest of their lives, starting studios, creating all sorts of amazing things. One of the studios he opened, he got a hit with a song called Dick Down in Dallas, and it's helped him tremendously. So if you think of those two success stories, basically just two examples. So you never know what opportunities arise and who's gonna go where at any given time. And I have to say, I'm fortunate enough to be the Forrest Gump, the guy that ends up in these areas and sees and witnesses this amazing stuff. It's proven to me that anything can happen. It's just a matter of the two main principles in which you should follow, which I believe goes across all sorts of things. Consistency and tenacity. You can't stop. You won't stop. You refuse to stop. A lot of people should stop, but they don't. But they achieve because they don't quit. And so that's huge. And this networking society that we're in is about being a good person primarily. The most important thing is being a great individual and people gravitate towards you. It's just that simple. What is Nashville like? And I never cut corners. I never pull punches. There's positives and negatives to everything. All walks of life, different parts of the city can resonate with you, or you downright loathe it. So there's those things as well. You don't have to follow anyone's path but your own, but there are things that this town is built around of. Now remember, Nashville is a bubble, okay? Big cities have different little bubbles, okay? And they're all gatekept by different people. Some people don't let people in. It's like a cliquey type of thing. Nashville, you have no choice. You're in one big bubble. You have no choice but to stay in Nashville and be in one area amongst everyone, and everyone knows each other. Good reputation takes a while to build up, but bad reputation spreads like wildfire because everyone is judge, jury, and executioner. That's what social media has become in general. We have millions of opportunities that provide lots of potential for whatever life you choose to live. If I were to break it down in some different categories, you have those that play on Broadway and those that don't. When I moved to town in 2014, those that played on Broadway were living Broadway tooth and nail no matter what. But it was also more easily accessible to get down there. Now it's a nightmare. You are bulldozing people and it's crazy. At the end of the night, it's gotten downright dangerous. There's been a lot of things that have happened in Nashville that has made people really fear for walking to their cars at night. People have been assaulted, people have been definitely hurt. So there's that as well. There's so many things about a big city that is a big city, and you can't ignore that. You can't deny it. It's just is what it is. Always be on guard. When you're in a town full of people that are roaming the streets at certain parts of the night, and then the gigs on Broadway end around 3 a.m., and then you have to walk to your car. If you're a female, you need assistance. You need people to walk you to your car. Nashville is like any big city, and the world right now is really volatile, so you never know. You just don't. So you gotta protect yourself first and foremost. Here's the biggest thing that I think you should really take away from this video, because I can give you an opinion, one man's opinion. 10 years in Nashville, I've seen so much. 10 years is a long time. People say it's a 10-year town. If my experience witnessing the Luke Combs explosion, it would be technically a 2-year town, because that is a 1 in a million situation. Can I say that I'm thriving more than I am struggling? It depends. Depends on what you want. Sometimes what you want, you can never achieve. Sometimes what you want is so grandiose, it's never attainable. It all depends. Depends on you and how hard you want to work for it. So there's that. What have I learned in 10 years of being in Nashville? I've learned that you got to be around 10 years. That's the biggest one. But also throughout those 10 years, my career has molded and shaped into different things. What am I doing now? I have playing things and I have creative things. All of it is art. All of it is expressive. All of it is things that are my strengths and my strong suits and things I've perceived, things that I have done in one way or another all my life. Companies that had one location. Some companies I like to add are Tin Roof, Winners and Losers, bars in Midtown, owned by the late great Irv Woolsey, or one location. Now you have multiple. Vegas, Belize, even, you have Losers. They've expanded. Hattie B's. The hot chicken thing wasn't as big as it is now when I first moved to town, and probably it was just on the rise. The hot chicken Hattie B's thing, they opened up multiple locations. So there's that too, lots of growth there. Everyone capitalized on the influx of Nashville. What was big in 2014 was the show Nashville. That show broadcasted around the world what Nashville was in their world. It wasn't really all of the reality, but it was a good representation. I saw that in Los Angeles. That's kind of what I went on. One particular drummer took me under his wing, and I stayed with him while I was looking for places to live. And he took me on a recording session, and in that recording session I met a man who took me and gave me my first band when I first moved to Nashville. So I remember getting the call in Texas on my way. I made the move within a month. I had so much to offer for a band because I had a lot of knowledge of the country scene in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. And that schooled me on everything from Jason Aldean to Luke Bryant to Brad Paisley to Zach Brown Band, Waylon Jennings, all the old school classic country stuff. I had a good repertoire of songs when I came to Nashville, and I already felt really confident with all those songs. I felt like I knew most of them. When the Luke Combs explosion, one of the trippiest things for me was hearing Luke Combs' first song off his first album on Broadway, and people were playing it in rotation. Taylor Swift got her start here in Nashville. Next thing you know, she's all over the place. One of the things that really was the jumping point for Luke Combs was Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton has been in this town for decades, writing for many different artists. Next thing you know, he jumps out and becomes huge, and then right off that cusp, you have Luke Combs. Guys, big dudes with beards became a thing. First you had your Luke Bryants, you had your real like clean cut, like country boy kind of dudes, real skinny dudes, then you have these like kind of big rugged kind of guys. Now you fast forward and we got Jelly Roll. You know, you have all these different styles of country music, and it's molded and shaped, gone from country to a hodgepodge of different things. Country now is hip hop, rock, everything. It's like the one genre that just encapsulates everything, and the old school country is a separate thing now. It's its own genre. You gotta know that that's just gonna be the reality of it, and just face it. Nashville is what it is. It's not just country music. So the rock scene has exploded. It's huge now here. It's all the big rock producers are here. Everyone is moving to Nashville. I actually had a great time in my 8 years living in Los Angeles. I had a great time. One thing about the scene in Los Angeles is that you have line dancers. And that is the thing that you do at a country bar, is you play for the line dancers. The artists are counting off the songs. When I moved to Nashville, there was none of that. The Wild Horse Saloon was the only place, or Nashville Palace. So they're all coming around, but there was a good portion of my life here in Nashville where I saw barely any line dancing. It's only within the last year or two, maybe. Nashville has evolved, and there's people that have thrived, and there's people that still trying to find their way. So for those that are moving to town and want to know about what Nashville's really like, Broadway is an option. It doesn't have to be the option. It's not the option for a lot of people. Matter of fact, when I first moved to town, one of the things that they looked at me are like, Broadway, the real stuff is off Broadway. Now, doing road gigs is great for a lot of people if the money's right. A lot of people say that the money is preferred on Broadway more than they are to go on the road, which there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of creators out there, like my friend Nick V has some perspective on that. You can go watch his channel. Also, if you're looking to play on Broadway, you have to know songs like crazy. And I have a list of songs on a Spotify playlist I will share in the description below for you for free. You don't have to pay, or you just have to have a Spotify account, and you just save that to your playlist, and if you want to move to town, learn as many songs as possible. Now here's the thing. Learn the songs, but also just have your ears and eyes open, because the songs have molded and shaped into different forms. They say the Broadway way. Yes, that's a thing. You have to kind of forget the song structure sometimes and just throw it out the window and just follow. Road gigs. Road gigs, if you are lucky enough, fortunate enough, have been around and know enough people that have referred you to get onto a road gig, it can be very lucrative for you if you like going on the road. If you don't like going on the road, it's not going to be your thing. Nashville is where history sometimes goes to die. Now there's people trying to protect it. And what I mean by that, big money from different places swoop in, buy it out, and they turn it into whatever they want to turn it into. There's no real preservation. There's people that have fought it. Some people have won, some people did not. And that's just a growth. One thing about Nashville that's really crazy to me is I'm seeing things that I saw in Northern California become reality here. One of which is Oracle, that's gonna be here soon. You also have Amazon now with a huge facility over in Lebanon. You have just influxes of things. The traffic has gotten from mild to crazy to way out of control. And the cops here are very few and far between. And when they are here, you're seeing them concentrate around lower Broadway. That's a huge difference. I was getting pulled over left and right because I have a lead foot. I was going around and driving to different areas. I was actually in Fairview, which is about 35 minutes out of town. I would drive from Fairview into Nashville. That was nuts. I got pulled over left and right. There was cops everywhere. Now, I got one ticket in 8 years, just to give you an idea. It was a speeding ticket and it was a completely fluke thing. Point being is, there's too much growth in the city, and the growth is exponentially bigger than 2014. 2024, it's crazy. Now, it's not as condensed as Atlanta. It depends on who you talk to. Los Angeles for sure is a pain in the butt. This is nothing compared to a lot of those places. But it still sucks, and it's still hard to get around during certain parts of the day. But the biggest thing is it disappears after a certain hour, and then it's completely free and you feel like you're there. I like to use another analogy. You're amongst many seals in an ocean. Sharks are lurking around different places, but it's hard to pick out one specific seal, where come 7:30, 8 o'clock, after that up until the evening, you have open water where the seals can be more exposed and there can be a shark lurking out of nowhere and swoop up and bite you if you're not careful. That's a fact. Now, if I were to say and close off with a message for my newcomers to Nashville, I would say gather all the opinions you want. Make your own opinion by your experience, but you gotta have the experience. You have to go out there, you have to navigate, you have to see what people are doing, what's popular for you, what's something you would like to avoid. Definitely follow your heart when it comes to navigating around a new city. Go to as many things as you can. I've decided to make this video after 10 years of being in Nashville. Why did it take this long? Well, quite frankly, I've seen a lot of people post content, and I figured I would give a perspective and answer some questions perhaps about what it's like to live 10 years in Nashville, Tennessee. I'd be curious if I was moving to town and I had someone put a video out about their 10 years in Tennessee. In a nutshell, to wrap it up, consistent growth since 2014. One pedal tavern to I've seen big penises with saddles on it around Nashville. Whatever kind of party bus situation you can think of, it's there. Bachelorette parties are aplenty. Divorce parties are aplenty. This is the biggest convention area that is booked worldwide for many different things. Coffee, everything, you name it. There's conventions for everything. It's not stopping. It's not gonna stop. We've also had an influx of themed bars. Bars are opening up with every country artist. This is the Disneyland thing I'm referring to before. It's Nashville Disneyland. Eric Church opened one. Bon Jovi's gonna open one. They even have a Frank Sinatra one. They have a Morgan Wallen one that's, I guess, now open. You're gonna have Luke Combs taking over the Wild Horse. That's gonna open. Miranda Lambert, Jason Aldean. You have Luke Bryan, you have everyone. Everyone's opening a bar, and it's not stopping. It's gonna get more of that. That's the Disneyland thing. You're coming for the theme park that is Nashville. It's not gonna stop. It's getting bigger. You can't control it. Don't try to control it. Don't complain about it. Use it to your advantage. There's opportunities everywhere. So, if you're new to Nashville, welcome. People say there's no room for you. I'd like to say there is, and there's gonna be more because they're building. It's never gonna be what it used to be. Those days are gone. Sorry, those days have left. Those days won't be no more. They will be in the history books. This town cannot be stopped. It won't be stopped. Oh yes, it won't be stopped. All good. Mold and shape with the times, my friends. Mold and shape with the times. You can't control everything. Don't try to be controlling. Let it be. If anyone would like to see more of my face and more different things, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. You already know. You already know. You get jam-packed, pummeled with the same kind of thing. Smashed. I'm not even gonna say that, I just said it. Can we come up with a new term, please? Do the things that you would like if you want to hear more about my experiences in Nashville. And if you want to hear about stories related to anything when it comes to road gigs, anything when it comes to studio, anything when it comes to being a filmmaker in Nashville, being a logo designer in Nashville, photographer in Nashville, being a drummer in Nashville, I want to offer many different perspectives. I am free in the comment section. Ask questions, I will answer to the best of my ability, and I will bring in famous friends of mine and people that would like to talk and give their perspectives on things. This could turn into a podcast. Who knows? I just figured I'd jump aboard the bandwagon because YouTube changed its algorithm and can push small creators in different channels better than they ever did. That's why I did this video. I was watching YouTube and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my video. I'm gonna tell you about 10 years in Nashville, Tennessee as a musician. 10 years in Nashville, Tennessee as a creative that has made his living, sustained, and has created a huge network of people that I'm very grateful to have in my life and will always be grateful for. And I will always do what I can for them. I was in a car accident recently and I lost a dear friend of mine. There's so much that we can talk about, but we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Mark Ali, musician, videographer, educator, photographer, designer, all-around creative person in a sea of many like me, but I am me, and I am me only, and I'm unique, and so are you. And I hope to see you in a future video. If that's the case, show the love. It's all there. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. You already know. And